my friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Wenkai. I'm a 4th year psychology student slash Chinese international student from University of Alberta. So today I would love to share with you guys how I increased my GPA from 2.6 to 3.5. In the meanwhile, I will also provide you guys the 5 very practical methods that I use to increase my grades and GPA. In terms of those 5 methods that I'm gonna provide, I will focus on study method, setting goals, and productivity. Let's talk about my first method first. That's stupid. First method first. What? The method is called active record. So basically, it's a sheet of self-made question that based on the course content combined with Excel sheets to track down your record dates and how well you're able to remember it. And last but not least, we also need to use the concept of forgiving curve in terms of when to remember it. For those of you who don't know what is forgiving curve and how it works, it's basically our ability to remember particular things and how they decrease over time if you don't spend time to record it. So basically, more frequent we record new information in the beginning, it can help us to increase our ability to remember the information longer, in the future. So eventually we can decrease our frequency of record of those new information, but still achieving in the same result. But I'm not gonna go in depth here because it's very complex. But I would definitely recommend you guys to check out Alex's video, like specifically talk about active record, how it works, and what is the science behind it. It's pretty long videos, there's 2 of it, but I definitely recommend you guys to watch it. So in terms of my personal experience, I started using rewriting notes during my first year. It didn't work well, I only get 2.6. And then later on during my second years, I started to use flashcard. Like, it works for a lot of people. There's no problem, there's no doubt about it. I'm not like saying flashcard is bad, but it didn't work well for me. When I first started my active record during my second semester in my second year, my grades didn't increase. It's still 2.7. However, during my whole 3rd year, my GPA just increased every single semester. So one thing that I would say is I'm able to remember more new information better and faster. And if you're still looking for some new methods for upcoming semester because you think the past method that you used didn't work well for you, I definitely recommend you guys to try it out, active record, because it changed my life and the way of studying. In terms of the short-term way to increase your grades, one of the fastest ways is actually find out as much of mistakes that you made in the past possible. I want to talk about the concept of assignment because a lot of you guys might think like, every time I heard people say I have to get 100% or 90% of my assignment because I want to increase my grades. But my point here is in terms of the concept of assignment. The reason why we have assignments is not because the fact that it's a GPA booster. It's not the case. How I use my assignment is basically applying all the new concept or just as much as I can into those assignments, so I'm able to see what is my problem. Just give you a very quick example. So like, I took a class called dehumanization during my spring courses. I just finished it a couple of weeks ago. I just try the same thing. I just try as much as possible, as much as new information possible into my assignment. And I did extremely well during my first and second assignment. I got 100% of both of it. However, I only got 5 out of 10 in my 3rd one because I was like, I was being creative out there. I was just applying different concepts and mix it around and see if it that makes sense. I did horrible on that. Well, of course I was like very sad. It's basically insulting you after you spend hours and hours on that assignment and you get 5 out of 10. Instead of just being mad, what I did after is basically I highlight and comment to the part that my professor think I'm making mistakes, and then I just sent an email to him right after. Right after I got the grade back. What he did is basically sending me another reflection set based on my assignment and the mistakes that I had. After that, I just have a so much better understanding. It's like, oh, I make mistakes in the past but I didn't even notice it. So what we need to do after that is to finish out assignment 3. We need to do a final course paper, because I have much better understanding in terms of like those kind of like topic and in the concept that mentioned in assignment 3. I'm able to do extremely well on my final paper. So I'm able to get 10 out of 10 in my final course paper, which is the highest grades I ever have in terms of papers. Don't waste your time to just say like, I want to increase my GPA, you want to increase your grade, so you just play safe on your assignment. You need to try different things, experience different things to find as much as like mistakes that you made as possible. It's much worth it compared to you made those mistakes in your midterms and then regret that, oh, I should do that, I should done that. So the third method that I want to share with you guys is actually talk about the to-do list. How to do to-do lists properly and more efficiently. I have seen a lot of people making 5 things or 6 things that you need to do in a day. The problem for that is you can't very go in depth to one thing because you already have so many things to do. So what I recommend instead is only focus on 1 or 2 things in a day and do it great. Other tasks, you just take it in the side quiz. You can put like 2 or 3 more like things that you need to do, but it's never something heavy. I usually spend like 2 to 3 hours just focus on that particular thing. So make sure I have very good understanding for that. For example, if you want to download a movie and it's supposed to be 4K resolution, which is the highest resolution you can get. Well, now it has 8K, but let's just put it here, 4K, the best resolution you can get. But because you want to make it faster, you want to download faster, so you just say, oh, it's not necessary to do 4K, let's do 720p, which is like, you know, pretty low resolution. Well, although you're able to finish it in a faster way, but you're losing a lot of detail or potentially a lot of mistakes, and it will build up later on in the future. So what I do instead, focus on the quality instead of the quantity. I would do only 1 or 2 things, but doing great. I would make sure myself say, okay, that is the best effort that I can get for that particular chapters, and then move on. So the next thing that I want to talk about is actually how to set a proper long-term goal. Setting the goals that it's just a little bit out of reach and create a sense of urgent, but it never meant to be overwhelm yourself. So for example, if I got 2.7 in one semester, for next semester or next like school year, I would set my goal to 2.9 to 3.0. It's never to the point that it's overreach. I can't get it. There's like literally 10% chance for me to get it. Of course, there's a lot of people out there able to, you know, do that, the huge transformation in 1 year or 1 semester, and there's no doubt about it. However, for most of the cases, we are not able to reach those kind of goals. Instead, the better way to do it is just step by step and do it well and increase gradually. Okay, so last but not least, I also want to talk about how to stay productive, which is the number 5. Habit reversal training is basically it's the method that I learned from my behavior modification class. It was the method that for people who have problem behavior, for example biting nails, and help them to stop doing that. So this method separates to 2 parts. So the first part is awareness training and the second part is competing response training. So for awareness training here, what we need to do is understand the routine of our behavior, specifically the problem behavior that you have. If you're having hard time to concentrate because of, you know, you're always checking your phone, and so what you need to focus here in terms of awareness training, why you start to checking your phone. For example, if you start to checking your phone because you saw the notification, and what's next? You start to check on the phones and realize that it's just email, and then later on say, why don't you check Instagram? And then Snapchat, and then just Twitter, etc. And you get distracted. So this is your problem behavior routine. So what you need to do here is competing response training, which is finding a way to stop the behavior routine. Ideally, the reason why you're checking your phones every single time, they're all because of the notification that you receive. One of the ways to stop the behavior routine would be turn off the notification Well, it's the ideal case. I mean, like every single time you saw the notification and then you start checking your phone, and other than that scenario, it never appeared. Well, you definitely can do more in real life. For example, just put your phone as far as you can get, or just hiding somewhere that you can't see it, or simply turn off your phone. So let me just wrap things up a little bit. We talk about active record as a long-term method to increase your GPA gradually over years. And we also talk about the short-term method, fighting your mistakes, fighting all the mistakes as much as possible by applying those new concepts into your assignment. And then in terms of setting goals, we also talk about setting day-to-day goals for your to-do list. And then we talk about for long-term goals, just set about just a little bit out of reach kind of goals. And last but not least, we also talk about habit reversal training to increase your productivity in general. Hey my friends, so that's it for today's video, and thank you so much for watching. And I really hope you can find it helpful, at least one or two methods that, is worth to give it a shot. And if you like this video, please smash the like button. Or if you want to see more contents like this, like study abroad, study psychology in English, please consider to subscribe. I will post contents every single week. So until next time.